Then just kind of, oh. Hey, everybody. I am Rick Robinson. This is Travis Green.
Good afternoon. We're glad to be here today.
Yeah, guys, welcome to the Rexburg Hustle today. I'm very glad to be back. I missed last week's episode, which was a fantastic episode, by the way.
It was a lot of fun. You know, we had a great time talking with Olive Avenue, which is our spotlight for today, actually. Stephanie over at Olive Avenue, boy, we had a great discussion about how it came about, what she does. The name came from her daughter. I love it. Olive Avenue. What a great name. What a great way to get a name. Anyway, Olive Avenue is the spotlight, Main Street location. Go see them. They are a great boutique store for the women who just need those fun accessories and different things, clothing and whatnot. They've got a lot of great things there.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. If you want to listen to a fantastic episode, last week's, go back to last week's.
Yeah.
I listened to it. I was out of town in Boise, and I listened to it on my drive home. And, man, just dynamic. What a dynamic person Stephanie is and her husband. And
absolutely. Very much go-getters, very enthusiastic, very concerned about offering a good value, a good product, and making a difference in people's lives. That was one of the neat things that I learned about their business. The business is great, but that's the vehicle for making friends and changing lives, and that was special.
Yeah. Guys, this is our 10th episode, and we're really excited about that. We've had 10 wonderful guests up to this point.
Yes, we have, and we are excited to have more. The Rexburg Hustle is all about getting to know you and connecting people in the community. We tend to know who we are, but we don't know what we do. We don't know the stories behind it. What brought us here? What's your triumphs, your struggles, the real day-to-day stuff that we all deal with? We want to hear from you.
Yeah, absolutely, guys.
Yeah.
If you know anybody who you think might be a good person to have on the Rexburg Hustle, please just shoot us an email, therexburghustle@gmail.com.
Yes.
And guys, if you're watching the live stream today, thank you so much for joining us live. Make sure to share this, like, subscribe, whether you're on the podcast app or YouTube or wherever you're at. So, well, we've got a great episode today.
We do. It's one of our own.
It is one of our own, yeah. So, before every episode, we always have a chance to sit down with the guests and talk a little bit about, the way the episode's going to go, the different things we want to talk about. So it's really fun to learn so much about all these people, and that's actually probably one of my favorite things is that time we have before the show to just sit and meet with them, get to know them. And today we have actually somebody who works for both Travis and I. He's worked for us for quite some time now. He's done all of our design work. He's done our videos for us, our property tours, our training videos, a lot of our graphic design websites. He's just done a ton for us. Yeah. And I have to say that even though he's worked for us for a while, I actually learned something today before the show when we sat and met with him that I never knew and would have never guessed.
I agree. Who we're going to announce here in just a minute. As Rick said, that he's been very, very involved in our business and the day-to-day routines, but he said, I would like to take a minute on the Rexburg Hustle. I would like to share my story. We thought, oh, okay, well, that sounds wonderful. And before we started today, we sat down and spoke with him and learned something that really, really was shocking to us, but such a great story. We're very, very excited to listen to today's podcast ourselves and be a part of it here, but let's introduce him.
Yeah, so we're excited to have on the podcast today Zach Dayley. He hails from Texas.
Yes,
and,
he does.
Is going to school here at BYU Idaho right now. And you're a senior, Zach? He's senior year of college up here at BYU Idaho. So as I mentioned, he is very skilled in graphic design. He's very skilled in web design. He's very skilled in videography. He's done a ton of stuff with video for us, again, websites. He's the one who actually has produced this entire podcast. He got all the camera set. I mean, he knows what he's doing. He's very, very talented in so many things. So Zach, why don't you come on up? We're very excited to have Zach Dayley on the podcast with us today. And this is fun because we get to see Zach on a daily basis. But now we get to know Zach on a little bit of a different level. So
absolutely,
yeah.
Remember to tuck pretty close there.
Yeah.
Zach's always saying, "Get closer to the mic. Get closer to the mic." So
now
we're
it's
going
our
to
turn.
remind him. Okay, get close to the mic, Zach. Okay. We're excited to learn more about your story, Zach. Everyone has something in their lives. Everybody has something in their lives that they're dealing with. Everyone's got a skeleton in the closet, a worry, a concern, a disability, whatever it is. We've all got something, and you have your share.
I do.
It sounds like you have your share. Well, tell us about yourself first. Tell us about you.
So, like you said, I'm originally from Texas. Been there my entire life, other than the couple of years I've been up here at school.
Do you know the Texas song?
I do.
Okay,
but
good.
not
I
off
was just
the top
making
of
sure
my
you're a
head.
true Texan. So every true Texan has to know their Texas song.
Right.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, started out there, came up here for school, have an emphasis in visual communications, which is basically everything you stated too. That's what my degree is in. And then just kind of like somewhat of a minor degree in video production. So also that. But yeah, I really just wanted to spend today talking about learning disabilities because I feel like it doesn't get talked about a ton.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's what I was just going to mention. Here you're talking about all your skills in videography and this thing, all the stuff you just mentioned. But my question is how's the road been in learning this?
It's been
Get a little
really
closer.
rough. Really rough.
Well, tell us about, so go back to when you were younger and kind of walk us through this experience you've had with a learning disability. In fact, you named them off.
Yeah.
I couldn't even begin.
So, all the ones I have are.
we lost his.
We lost his mic. We're technical difficulty here, real quick. We're trying to work it out.
Did we trip something down there?
Sorry guys, we're gonna look at this real quick.
Yeah, just one moment. But as we're figuring out Zach's microphone here, does it say we're good? Okay. Well, maybe we're all right on that side. All right. Well, we just wanted to make sure that was working so that we could hear him. No?
Yeah, it's still not working.
Okay. Here.
I can talk really loud though.
Okay.
So, yeah, we'll just share mics. So, started out when I was starting out with school. I was never really good at it. I am awful at reading, writing, and math. So really the only things I was good at was science and history. So, but it manifests itself through, I have 5 learning disabilities, at least that I know of. They are dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, ADHD, and short-term memory loss. So it's kind of just a cocktail of fun things to have to deal with. So dyslexia is reading comprehension. It's difficult to read things over. Dyscalculia is math-based, so it's hard to articulate numbers and things. And then dysgraphia is writing things out.
Amazing. Okay, this one's working again.
Yeah. I think this.
Sorry about that.
That was
everybody.
my fault. I tripped over the cord and unplugged it.
Okay. So,
Okay.
So Zach, real quick, because I want to get you to get close to the mic. Tell us
Yeah.
again what you have a number of things that you're dealing with. What were those things again?
So dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, ADHD, and short-term memory loss. So
Wow.
the latter of the two people usually know about. They're fairly well known.
Okay.
People know about dyslexia quite a bit. It's fairly common. I think 1 in 5 people have it.
Really, it's that common.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
So-
We knew you liked pizza, but we
Yeah.
didn't know you liked or had the rest of that stuff going
Yeah,
on. So
no.
when was this diagnosed? I mean, when did this come about?
So I believe it was 3rd grade. I was sitting down in my classroom, and we were reading, or my teacher was reading a book to us called Runny Babbitt, just to kind of figure out what our reading
Runny
skills-
Babbitt?
Yeah.
Rennie Babbitt. Okay.
So it's Bunny Rabbit, but the first 2 letters are flipped.
Got it.
Okay.
And kids were having difficulty reading it because you're in 3rd grade, so you're still kind of young, still learning how to read.
Sure.
Very, very basic understanding of it, but I was reading it like 15 seconds faster than anybody else in the class, and I, once again, really did not do well in school. So it was out of the ordinary that I was excelling in that much. So my teacher went and talked to a dyslexia specialist at the school, and basically she said, something's up here. You need to try getting him tested and see what's going on. And then stuff started coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
And figured out I had dyslexia. So basically the book is there's 2 words that are partners, and then you just flip the first 2 letters throughout the entire book.
Okay.
So you can read it. I could read it pretty much flawlessly. So
When everyone else struggled, you got it.
yeah.
Interesting. So the evolution of this, it was discovered at a young age that you've got these differences in your learning. How has that contributed going forward? roll forward a little bit and tell us how that story's been.
So, with the way that dyslexics' brains work and that whole jumble of things, they tend to usually be more creative with things. So I've excelled in my graphic design classes, my video classes, just everything that isn't like core classes.
Yeah.
And it
Right.
shows throughout my like report card and my GPA
Sure.
transcript and everything.
Sure.
So it's kind of sad to see because kids sometimes get kicked to the curb because of these. They're problem kids and they aren't treated for it. So they just kind of let them do their own thing and suffer, sort of. And the only reason I got help is I have ADHD. So a couple of the kids don't actually have ADHD and there's nothing they can do for them. So it's kind of a bummer to see kids have to suffer through like the most important part of their life with learning things and stuff to that extent. So yeah.
Wow.
I just got instantly frustrated, and let me tell you why. Because while you were saying that, okay, yeah, you haven't been good in math, you haven't been good at writing, you haven't been good at reading, but you've been insanely good at graphic design, you've been very good at videography, you've been very good at that thing. But because you haven't been good in those other categories, you're all of a sudden labeled as somebody kind of special, needs help, like needs special attention, things like that.
Yeah.
Yet there's people who are good at writing, good at reading, good at math, but are horrible at graphic design, horrible at photography, horrible at creative things, and they're just normal people.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
So
yeah, it's
it's heavily weighted in one direction, it seems like.
Yeah. So if it's
Get closer.
yeah, it's frustrating because you see all these other kids succeeding around you,
Yeah.
and you think there's something
When you're just
wrong
as
with-
talented,
yeah.
if not more talented than some of these other kids.
It's just not what would be considered like traditionally talented.
Sure.
So they excel in other ways, but it doesn't show because that's not the way the curriculum works. So
How did it affect you during your childhood?
it was frustrating. So let's see. After I got out of elementary school, was great. They helped me out quite a bit. My teachers understand. And so the teachers try to help you as much as possible. I've never had a problem with the teacher with my learning disabilities, but it's difficult for them to try to reach out to me individually because I have to learn a different way than everybody else does. So it's basically, let's take as many people as we can and get them educated. So it's difficult to pick out the 2 or 3 out of 30 kids in a classroom to get them to learn. So, but after elementary school, I went into intermediate school, which is 5th and 6th grade, for those who don't know. And stuff started happening with teachers in the school district, and
What kind of stuff?
I just wasn't getting the help
Okay.
that I really needed. So I started struggling, and
Struggling academically?
Yeah.
Okay.
the lady who originally diagnosed me with dyslexia and my dyslexia specialist, she ended up going to a private school for her church, and I think my mom ran into her when she was like at Ross or something. I don't know. She was out shopping and saw her, and they just caught up, and the dyslexia specialist started talking about how she teaches at the school, and my mom thought it was an awesome idea. So I was the only LDS kid at an all Lutheran school. So
How was that?
a little bit confusing because
Okay.
once again, with learning disabilities, I basically just block things together. So I had the Book of Mormon attached to the Bible, but I would say there's this chapter or whatever, and it wasn't a chapter in the Bible.
In the different books.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Yeah.
I would basically just be talking about something
That all-
religious, and they're just like, "What are you talking about?"
They all
'Cause they
run
have-
together, huh?
Yeah. So
Interesting.
I associated those together, but it was awesome. I was in a class of probably 7 or 8 kids.
Oh, so really small class.
So
Okay.
yeah, and quite a few. I think 4 kids in the class all had dyslexia. So it was easy because it's like, well, we'll just cater to them first, and the other guys, if they need help, we'll just help them that way. So
Being
yeah.
in a class with a bunch of people who were dyslexic, or is there different like degrees of dyslexia?
Oh, yeah.
Or okay, where did you think compared to the other students that you were in that class with? Where did you fall?
So I'm pretty lucky because over time, basically what I had to do was reroute my brain to do certain things to be able to function properly. Yeah. And luckily I got the help I needed to do that. And basically, I kind of lost my train of thought. What was the question?
That's okay.
No, just I was just asking about the different degrees and kind of where you fell in that.
So I had it pretty moderate. It
Okay.
wasn't terrible, but it was definitely noticeable. Like I'd have anxiety attacks almost whenever I was told to read in front of everybody in class or read scriptures in church because I just couldn't do it. So especially with scriptures, there's weird words and stuff in there and Old English and whatnot. So it's
I still can't pronounce
foreign.
a lot of the words or the names.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But yeah, I had probably towards the better end of the stick, but that also means I struggled quite a bit, and there's kids who have it significantly worse than I do. So.
How has it evolved over from your elementary school, your middle school, your high school, now this stage of your life today? How are you dealing today with your situation versus 10 years ago, 5 years ago? So
it's interesting because most people, whenever they study, they sit down, they read through a book. I can't do that. I'm just reading over stuff and it means nothing to me. So if I'm in a class and they're showing how these things work, that's how I learn things.
Yeah.
So you're very much a visual learner, not a textbook learner.
Yeah.
And that's common. I mean, that's honestly.
I'm the exact same way.
You sit me down, maybe make me read a book. It's misery. But
Yep.
you know, I'm the guy that looks at the picture to assemble something. I don't read the instructions, right? I mean, that's there's a lot of us that way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But totally visual learner. I actually haven't really, so with my degree, I don't have to study ever just because it's project based and it's graphic design and stuff. So that's a blessing and it's been awesome for me because it's stuff that I'm good at and
very good at.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are.
I might add.
Right.
Pretty darn good.
Good.
But yeah, I've been able to shine a lot better. The teachers I've had have been all super accommodating up here. They'll pull me aside after the first day of class and say, is there anything I can do to help? So
have they all been, have you kind of made them aware of, okay.
Yeah. But like I said, at this point in life, it's like one of the accommodations I have is I can have extended time on written or reading exams. And
Right.
I don't have that anymore because it's all graphic design basically.
Right.
So, but yeah, preferential seating. So if there's something that's bothering me, I can just get up and move and not have to give the teacher a reason why I'm moving. I'm just going to say I can do that. And I can always have a computer with me in class, even if it's not allowed, just because I need to take notes on there or take recordings of things, stuff to that extent.
So let me ask you this. When you're going through, I'm wondering what the frustration level has been for you. So you've got this, you know this, you're trying to read the books, they're blending together, everything. Has it been hard to handle? I mean, you've got this situation, and I understand the learning barrier, but has it been frustrating for you? How have you emotionally handled the learning side of it?
Up until high school, it was just a little bit frustrating, but it was manageable. High school, since I had gone to private school, I switched school districts, and basically for some reason the paperwork didn't get transferred over, so for my first half of my freshman year I had no help. So figured that out, and then my mom went mama bear on him, I guess. So shout out to
good job, mama.
Yeah.
But that got put in order. But during that first half of freshman year, I'd come home and be incredibly frustrated because I couldn't do my geometry homework because I didn't know what he was talking about. I wouldn't play on my phone. None of that. I'd be sitting there taking notes, and I guess the way I was taking notes, it just didn't come out the way it needed to. So I'd have to go home pretty much every single night and relearn what I learned that day.
So your discipline level to get through school is, I'd say, much higher than what most people's discipline level is.
Yeah. So
Wow.
I wanted it really bad, and it might just be because I'm kind of selfish or prideful. I guess continue forward with that. The most difficult part of my life was sitting down with people that I had like admired and had helped me all through college or high school. And they basically told me I wasn't going to be able to go to college. They told me I was going to need to go to a trade school or go to community college for 2 years, which there's nothing wrong with that. Like,
Sure.
everybody's
Sure.
got their own thing.
That's
But
right.
for me, it's like I wanted to go to college and be graphic designer, multimedia designer thing. And being told by them you can't do that is kind of heartbreaking. So, yeah, that was super fun.
And how has the whole college experience been? Have you been able to, I know we've kind of been talking about that, but you're a senior now. I mean, you're getting really close to graduation. Everybody said you couldn't. How does that feel?
Pretty awesome, especially since I haven't failed a class since I've been in college. So
Wow.
Good for you.
It's been close sometimes, but I've always managed to get by just fine. But over
C's get degrees.
yeah, exactly. But over the time, it's been easier over the last 2 years because I've started doing more and more things that are catered towards what I want to do for a profession.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been great.
Do you think it's going to continue to affect your life going forward? Now that, I mean, you know, obviously during the school years when we're trying to learn and you have a learning disability, it's a challenge.
Yeah.
Once you graduate college and go just into your profession, you know, family, whatever, do you think it's going to be as much as a difficulty in your life as it has been? Or do you think once school's over, life's going to kind of get a little easier?
I think it'll get easier just because, I mean, for the most part, I'm going into a profession where they're not going to rely on me to do math or write things out
Yeah.
because I'm making pictures and doing videos. So
Right.
the things that I'm bad at, I've basically weeded out of what my profession will be. So I can excel quite a bit. I mean, there will be day-to-day things where I'm reading something and it'll
Yeah.
trip me up, but for the most part, it's the things that have been super difficult are going to be nearly non-existent because like simple things like how much do I need to tip this waiter? It's 10 or 15%. That's not terrible.
Right.
But like trying to sit me down and teach me calculus and stuff
Yeah.
Yeah.
doesn't work.
So that creative, artistic side of you that you know the best, that comes out naturally, that you don't struggle with, that's what you need to celebrate. What message is it that you would send to people who are struggling with this? I mean, I'm hearing you and I'm going, thank goodness you're past the elementary and junior high and high school and even now almost through college stages because of the suffering you have to go through with the learning. That's so frustrating saying, I got to learn this. I want to learn this. But these roadblocks, these barriers, it's hard. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
So moving forward now, getting through that, and now you're free to use this creative side of Zach. That's got to be exciting.
Yeah, no, it's super awesome.
Yeah.
So-
What message would you send to people about finding those strengths, not giving up, not losing hope, that this too shall pass? Find the thing that is your strength and let that thing shine.
Yeah. So there's quite a bit of people that think that people with learning disabilities are lazy just because they take forever. I think to do things, I think it's a fact with dyslexic. Whenever they're in their beginning stages of learning how to read and write, it takes them 5 times longer to do it than everybody else. So they struggle. So first of all, you're not lazy, you're different and need to be kind of treated as different, but it's not a bad thing.
And maybe let me interject and say that people need to understand that this isn't their fault.
Yeah.
You're not broken, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You're not broken. This isn't something you've done. This isn't your fault that this thing has occurred to you. But let's just deal with it.
To me, it's no different than what Shane McCain, when she was on the podcast, when she was talking about
Right.
depression, anxiety, and things like that. Those are things people can't control.
Right.
These are things you can't control.
Yeah, exactly. You're not broken. You're just different. You do things differently. You deal with life differently. You just got to learn to kind of toughen up a little bit and kind of plow through it. And then it gets better the farther on you go in life.
And just out of curiosity, is this something that can be passed down from generation to generation? Is it something like hereditary, or is it just kind of a random thing?
I believe it can be. So
Okay.
I think my dad has ADHD. It was undiagnosed. He takes Concerta, which is medicine for ADHD.
Okay.
My older brother has ADHD as well. So,
Okay.
I
So that part does run in the
There-
family.
there's a history.
yeah. So I think it can be passed down. I think the learning disabilities other than ADHD can be a little bit of a gray area.
Yeah.
But the thing most people don't know about dyslexia and stuff is a lot of the time it stems from ADHD. All of that stuff is basically just a branch of ADHD essentially. So
We've got just a few minutes left, and I kind of want to do something real quick. So we've been able to get kind of your insider perspective of it. Now, these are things that Travis and I never knew about you.
yeah.
However, you've got a brother sitting in here who's actually running our show today, Josh, who's been
Yeah.
interning for us for the last several months. He's over on the cameras right now. I am totally going to pick on Josh real quick and have him come up here. Come on up, pineapple shirt.
He's wearing a Hawaiian pineapple looking shirt today.
Yeah. So I just wanted to ask Josh, where you've grown up with Zach, where you have probably seen his struggle, I guess how have you seen it from an outsider's perspective of the things that he's had to go through?
I don't know. I'd probably say, like he said, it was a lot of having to see the kind of the stuff that our mom went through, because she, I guess she fought a lot with the school district to kind of get him the stuff that he needed.
Yeah.
And so, it was stressful for everyone. Not as much me, because I'm like 4 years younger than him and I have no idea what's going on.
Right.
But I don't know. I guess it was just kind of a relief once stuff kind of worked out, especially since now that he's about to graduate college and stuff. There were a lot of people that kind of said, you'd never get there. But now that he's there, it's just kind of in your face. But
Could you say you're proud of Zach for what he's accomplished? Yeah. Awesome. No, that's cool. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to kind of get your perspective as a brother, and just that kind of the outsider perspective of somebody who's grown up with Zach. So
Nice shirt.
yeah, that is a great shirt. Speaking of which, I forgot to throw my nicer shirt on today. I just realized.
We're good.
Yeah.
Well, Zach, is there anything else you'd like to share as we're wrapping things up? You've got an incredible story that so many people deal with, and the thing is I wonder how many people struggle with the same things but don't know it. Like you said, they haven't been diagnosed. They just think they're broken. They've got an issue. What is it? Oh, it's so frustrating. Well, maybe let's go get that looked at. Maybe let's just humble ourselves enough to go to the doctor and say, all right, something's not clicking. Let's figure this out, so that you can make more progress.
Yeah, exactly. So it was my brother basically did this. I talked to him quite a bit about it because he was like, I think I have ADHD and I have it. So if you think there's something up, just suck it up and just go for it.
Stop torturing yourself.
Yeah. If you think there's something wrong, talk to somebody about it and see if there's a way you can fix it, because it gets so much easier from there.
And who would they talk to? Just their general doctor? Do they have to go to a specialist? Or
So
okay.
You go to your general doctor first,
Okay.
like for just any like regularly scheduled checkup or something,
Sure.
and just say, hey, this is what I think is going on, and then they'll direct you to a specialist that can diagnose you within that field, because they were specialized in it through college. So
Well, and I think that if we can overcome the fear of a doctor, fear of a counselor.
It's like my fear of the dentist.
yeah.
Rick has a horrible fear of the dentist.
I do. It's true.
been 800 years since he's been there.
I'm that old.
Yeah. And so if we can overcome that fear of going to the doctor, thinking only broken people go to the psychiatrist, only broken people go to the counselor or the doctor or whatever, they're on this earth for a reason.
Yeah.
Right?
It really the way you need to think about it is there's quite a bit of people that'll go to the doctor because it's like they're there to help my body, and like a psychiatrist is no different. Your brain's part of your body. They're a doctor for your brain.
Wow.
They're not some guy trying to scam you out of money.
No. Yeah. Well, that's a very powerful message, Zach. We appreciate you sharing that and being vulnerable
Thank you.
to share your story and your history. So many people deal with this, and I know that it runs in my family too. I'll tell you, it just does, and so we understand. And I appreciate you sharing that. Any other questions?
No,
Zach?
I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, we appreciate everyone tuning in today. We appreciate Zach for sharing his story. Please let us know. We'd love to hear your story. We'd love to get to know you and just make the connection. And your story might be someone else's. Let's share it. Thank you very much, Rexburg, the Rexburg Hustle. We'll talk to you next time.
See you guys.